Hello, and welcome to the Decision Intelligence Podcast, where we have real, candid conversations with thought leaders, practitioners, and tech experts about AI, decision intelligence, and the future of work. I'm your host, Fred Laluio, the co-founder and CEO of Arca Technology. Today, we're talking about Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages, a subsidiary of Arca Continental, one of the world's largest Coca-Cola bottlers. We'll explore how the team is using decision intelligence to prevent stockouts across the vast, fast-moving supply chain. And for that, I'm very pleased to welcome our guest today, Reyes Garcia, Vice President Supply Chain at Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages. Welcome, Reyes. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Fred. Thank you for the invite.
Well, where are we finding you today? Where are you physically located right now?
I'm here in Dallas, so it's a sunny skies, clear, and a little bit of chilly, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's been chilly ever. I was in New York all week, and I'm telling you, chilly is an euphemism. It was freezing, but I'm back in California now, so enjoy a bit of sunshine as well. So, welcome again. Tell us a little bit about your role, your career, basically. First of all, like what happened in your career, your current role. You've done a lot, and what keeps you energized throughout your career at Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages.
Well, thank you, Fred. So first of all, I've been in the system for almost 23 years now. So it's been a long journey. As you can tell by my accent, I'm from Mexico, from a small little town called Tampico. It's in the Gulf of Mexico. It's a beautiful town. If you have the chance to go, you should go.
Yep.
So I started over there with the Continental at the beginning, and then merchant acquisitions, getting into Arca Continental, stayed over in Mexico, in Monterrey, Mexico for 7 years, and the last 9, a journey into United States. So Today I'm leading supply chain for the franchisee of Texas and Oklahoma, which is a subsidiary, as I stated, for Arca Continental. So as the role that I have is 11 different areas. So it's fun. So it's a really true bandwidth to deal with daily problems in the supply chain area, from manufacturing and all the way to procurement, sourcing, warehouse logistics, safety, quality, engineering. So as you can imagine, it's super fun. Every single day is an adventure. And so what keeps me energized is the culture of the company. The culture of Arca Continental comes from multi-generations. And we are focusing on 5 different pillars. First is people, change, innovation, focus on results, customer-centric, and transparency. That one is breathe and live through that culture. And when you start looking after that and all the changes that we have, it gives you the opportunity to shape the company in the way that you want to shape it, because you belong to that. So, and being part of the supply chain, so that gives you a different shape into that, or tone into truly make changes that are meaningful and are gonna impact all the 5 different cultures for the company.
That's awesome. I have to say an anecdote, right? You came with your colleagues to see us in Mountain View, I don't know, a year ago or whenever it was. And then we had some Coca-Cola on the table, and then you take one, you open it, you taste it, and you go, "Ooh, not good." And you said it's expired. And I didn't know that those products had an expiry date. Immediately at tasting it, you were immediately able to say, "This one has expired." I felt really bad. And then now I'm always checking, and that was something that I didn't know, but you were able to taste it in like one gulp. You were like, "Fred, this one has been sitting for too long." So that was an interesting, but that's kind of a segue about the complexity of your business, because there is a lot that people don't really know about the bottlers. But maybe before we dive a little deeper into Arca Continental, talk a little bit about what is the job of a bottler, right? We talk about bottler, but not everybody on the line and listening to us today knows what the model is between Coca-Cola and the bottlers. Can you talk a bit about what is the scope of what a bottler does? It's pretty
So
wide, right?
thank you, Fred. I think it is something that is not is understated. At the end of the day, the bottler we're working as a franchisee. So the buffer, basically, we protect the brand and we own it to the brand. But at the same time, we produce and we have the rights to produce and distribute our products or different SKUs in the regions that you are doing business with.
Yeah.
And that's where is the beauty that you own your business, but at the same time, you belong to a global company that you need to protect.
Yeah. So you bottle, you distribute, you sell, you cover the entire supply chain in manufacturing, right? That's kind of the full scope that you basically are covering.
From procure to pay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we say bottler, but it's not just you're not putting things in bottles. You're covering the entire chain from procure to pay, as you said. And give us a little sense of the size of the company, the market that you're covering, and what makes your organization one of the largest Coca-Cola bottlers in the world.
So let me start for Arca Continental. So Arca Continental, and an interesting fact, and this one is something that not many people know, is it started like a 30 years ago.
130
And
years ago.
130
Wow.
years ago in
Okay.
Monterrey, Mexico, and with the famous brand of the Topo Chico, which is the starting point.
Yep.
So that's amazing. At the end of the day, it's too many years of multiple generations of knowing the business. So we serve Arca Continental as a franchisee. We work or serve 5 different countries. So is in South America, we have Ecuador, Argentina, Peru, Mexico, and United States in the state of Texas and Oklahoma. It's a it's a company around $12.7 billion in revenue, 2.5 billion unit cases that we sell in the entire year, 45 these production manufacturing facilities, and 70,000 employees in our company, 1.6 million points of sales.
Yeah,
So
I mean
that's what makes
that's
a
what I think people hear butler, they don't understand the scale of your business, which is phenomenal. Those
it,
numbers
it
are crazy.
that's what makes a third largest bottler in the world, right? Is and also you talking about complexity, Fred, and is where it's not easy to is you're talking about 140 brands and
Yeah.
more than a 1800 SKUs that you need to produce and manage and distribute and seeing what is the trends on on your consumer. So it's a
Yeah.
slightly complex operations, but we got it right. At least we have Cokes everywhere.
So yeah, the size of your operation makes you actually much larger than many like standalone organizations who are making and distributing their own brand. You have a massive scale with the business. So let's shift a little bit about the conversation on decision intelligence. Now that we understand what the company does, its scale, and the complexity of your supply chain. You just gave us some numbers on the number of SKUs, the number of markets. You said 45 manufacturing sites. It's huge and a pretty wide network because you're going from Argentina all the way to Oklahoma, as you said. So let's talk a little bit about decision intelligence. What are the specific challenges, the turning point, or the moments when you realize that decision intelligence could improve the way you operate?
Well, to be honest, I think supply chain has the same problems, and in our business has the same problems as many other companies. Is an insane amount of data, the need to make decisions in a heartbeat, in a constant changes on your demand, trying to fulfill the needs of our customers,
Yeah.
working in silos in different areas, try to make the connections and the decisions, having the visibility across the organization. And the most important part is making the decisions that minimize the impact to our consumers, to our costs, and also fulfill the consumers' needs. So at the end is just to give you a quick example with the numbers. I'm more of a number guy.
That's
Is
awesome. We love numbers.
you have in Texas we have 88,000 points of sales where we are serving. And then you have 755 SKUs in the United States, which is when I was talking about the 1,600, 700 are just for United States, which is a complex market. In 47 brands that we are managing here. When you start doing that, we serve also 31 million customers and in Texas and 4 million customers in Oklahoma. So looking at that and the number of decisions that you need to make in order to fulfill that need is where you start getting into where we need to make it right. So and in our case, we have one of the part that we decided into the decision making. It's one single planner. A planner is a person that is making a decision on where is gonna be the STO that we're gonna send over to our customers. So we have 7 planners across the organization, and every single one of them, they're looking after 3,000 lines of an Excel file to see what are the STO they're gonna see. You multiply that for the number of days that we had. Doing the math, it was like 8 million lines for 7 persons. To be honest, I don't think it's even feasible. I cannot even manage 300. 3,000
It's impossible.
Is impossible. So that's where it makes us thinking and where we needed to go into. There is where the technology is the one that needs to help us to make things easier.
Yeah. No, that I understand. So talk a little bit about how you started and your initial use case, right? You started working on the first use case. You're looking at the journey. You understand why you need decision intelligence. But then how do you pick the first use case? How do you get, in your case, I believe it was preventing stockouts, which is a massive issue in supply chain, especially given the complexity of your network. So what made stockout prevention the first skill, the right skill to start educating yourself, educating the company, getting some value when you started thinking about decision intelligence, and more importantly, getting the team excited about that new approach? Because you talked about teams looking at, planners looking at 3,000 line in spreadsheet. Obviously, you don't do that anymore. So walk me through your thinking process. Imagine that you're talking to someone who's thinking about deploying DI. What made that first use case the right use case for you, and how did you manage that?
So I think we're gonna start for you need to figure out what is the problem that you need to solve. And I think it's common. It's a commonality among the different industries that we have been talking. Even in your COP last time in New York, the common word is what is the problem that you are solving in order to move forward with the technology. So that was first. And one of the pieces that we realized is the amount of data and how difficult it is for our team to truly make the right decisions. And that's where it drove us to focus on the stocks, on the STOs, and where the planners are pretty much spending every single day. Imagine your time every single day looking at the screen, that many data, and not knowing if the decisions they're making are making a difference or not. So, and that brings me back into our cultural principles. When we start thinking about people focus, that one is find something that is going to be beneficial for your team and make them feel proud. So that's where we start. That's the reason we start with the planners. We started with seeing the opportunities, analyzing the data, and seeing the benefits. And you're touching a really good point. I think in any transformational idea, bringing or embracing the change is something that you need to think about. And the only way that you can do that is select the team and bring them in as a part of the solution. So when we started this journey, the first thing that we wanted to do is explain our planners, this is what we're going to do. These are the potential benefits or expediting the decisions making more accurate decisions, serving our customers in a faster way,
Yeah.
so they can feel proud of their job at the end of the day when they were doing full implementation into this new skill that we were trying to implement. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Fred. This one, it was not an easy path. it,
Yeah.
it takes a village, and it takes a little bit more of a time. And I remember, and I don't know if I told you this story, but I'm gonna tell you right now. So I remember we were pretty much in a 6 months in a way in this journey with you guys, partnering and working together and having meetings every day in different hours and trying to get everything together. And I was having a conversation with my team, and I asked them, "Hi, guys, how are you feeling with this journey? It's been almost 6 months. What do you feel?" And the first thing is the typical comments is, "Well, it's taking too long. There's too many meetings. It's hard. The data and the analysis is taking too long." All right, it's just not excuses, but complaints in a way.
Sure.
It's part of you being a human being. And then I stop. Okay, let's just stop these guys. Let's do this. Let's just stop everything that we're doing today, and let's go back in the old ways of doing your job. The immediate answer was, no, 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 no. We are okay.
Yeah.
We do not change anything.
And I
Now
think
we
it's
realize
it's
that.
it's a super good example. But it is change is hard. It's always been hard. One of the thing that and you started early, which is fantastic. Well, one of the thing that is always a little challenging at the beginning on the first implementation is that your team and you think you know how you make decisions. You've been operating with people and spreadsheet and manual work and some level of support, of course, with software. But now you have to bring this into a structured format so that those decisions can be automated. And I remember there was a little back and forth of, hey, we're not doing it exactly that way. And what about that corner case? And what about that situation? But that work is not necessarily software related. Work is really to help define how decisions are made on a specific process. Is that something you relate to as you were deploying in the early days?
Oh, definitely. I think one of the biggest realization from the team is we have the planners sitting in the same space, but at the same time they were not communicating along.
Yeah,
So everybody was working on their own network. But when you start implementing the technology and looking after the entire area and connecting the dots across the board, is guys, you're making decisions in this area, but it's impacting the completely
exact.
opposite of the state in a different way, and you're sourcing from the same place.
Yeah.
So that one it wouldn't be possible without the technology.
Yeah, yeah. So that's so interesting, right? Because again, you're talking about optimizing the way you work, leveraging digital to automate, augment decision making, but fundamentally it starts by understanding how you make decisions. So maybe that's you already answered part of that question, but when you look back, what has surprised you the most as your team began relying on decision intelligence on Era in their day-to-day work? What surprised you with the users? You mentioned in early implementation phase this kind of pushback, but then when you said let's stop, they said no, no, we continue. So that's an awesome story. But what surprised you as the team began using the technology, and what are the unexpected benefits or insights that you can share today?
So, Fred, I think we can start with the flexibility. So, with the flexibility of the tool and how we can adapt things in a faster way and how we can adapt to the change. Look, as I mentioned, is looking after the entire picture of the network, not only one single piece and everything collaborating. And definitely the unexpected is and because we believe that we were doing a right analysis to a certain extent, but when you
Yeah.
start gathering all the data and be more specific and more accurate on the decisions, we were leaving things on the table that we were not imagining.
You were
So
not
we
aware of.
improved cut cases in is an improvement of 23-25% just at the go when we start implementing these. And this one is just at the early stage of these skills and on stock balancing. So that one it's a surprise, yes, is because we were not used to that. But once that you know what is the capabilities are in front of you, then it makes you desire to keep continuing in a different way in this journey, which is
Yeah.
good.
So flexibility is a key element because you're digitizing the way you make decisions. So this you have to have that level of flexibility. So that's super interesting. So as you're looking at the journey now and to advance the eye, how are you approaching that scaling process, and how do you measure success?
Well, and I'm gonna go back into the five principal cultures. At the end of the day, is we need to hit each of them in order to have the benefits. So,
Hmm.
how we're gonna make the life of our people easier? How
Yeah.
we're gonna focus on results, avoiding cut cases, increase in productivity, increase in revenue, or increase in margins, how we can fulfill the needs of our customers. So at the end of the day, we're doing everything that we're doing in the supply chain to fulfill the needs of our internal customers, which is our sales guys, or our third party external company customer, which is our consumers.
Yeah.
And changing innovation, I think AI is bringing a new dynamic into any supply chain, and it's our responsibility as a company to start implementing AI across the supply chain functions
Yeah.
and with a solid approach. And to be honest, that one is it's something that we are a fully embedded now that we understand our journey. And I'm Fred. I think most is that, and the other one is the transparency to have a better way to make decisions and using the technology.
Yeah.
So with the right partner.
Awesome. So you saw at our conference a few weeks back in New York, we were talking about agentic decision intelligence and embedding the whole full power of LLMs reasoning inside the platform. So as you're looking forward, what is your thinking when it comes to agentic AI, agentic decision intelligence, and how that's going to help you accelerate, decisions and generate more value?
So I think we still let me step a little bit back
Yeah.
before getting into agentic because I think it is worth it. Is we need to have this roadmap clear in our side. We understand what are the next steps that we need to take. First is we're a little bit behind, so we're implementing one skill. We're getting is you can call it one skill, but it was a super complex
It's
skill.
a it's 12
It was not
skills rolled
easy
into one. Yeah, I know. I know.
for me doing that. Like looking at my at the our skill is like a three skills in one, but because
Yes.
they're doing multiple things at the same time. So we have that.
Can you
So
talk a little bit about that? I mean, just like in 1 minute, what do you mean by that? I think people might not understand what we're meaning. A skill is a set of decisions, a reasoning logic that is managed and processed by error. When you say three into one, it might be a bit confusing. I know what you mean, but can you explain what you mean a little bit there?
yeah. So the way that I can tell you is we're balancing the stocks, so the STOs, but at the same time we the same skill is making the decisions where we need to move cases from one place to another that
Yeah.
is needed. The other part of the decision is what is giving me a recommendation if you're not having enough product where to suggestion to produce
Yeah.
that product. And the other one is suggestions to increase inventory levels on the safety stock and rewrite ASAP. So at the end of the day, it's multiple things that happen, but it's just one
Yeah.
single skill.
Yeah. And it rides back into SAP, right? So it's fully integrated
Yes.
from the data, deploying this full intelligence, where to dispatch, where to manufacture, and so on and so forth, as you explained, and then right back into the tool, into your transactional system.
I agree. So with that being said, our journey is the next steps is start building more skills into to increase the capabilities on our network so we can start working with as an organization. Definitely that one is gonna is not gonna require only that, but also is gonna require the specific organization that we need to have internally.
Yeah.
Once that we have that with the experts, and it's gonna become we from the same organization that we have today, then we can start. Once that we got multiple skills, then we can start talking definitely about agentic AI.
Yeah.
The way that I see that is the benefit on agentic AI is faster pace, moving from a development to
Sure.
actions. And the other one is I think that one was impressive, is using natural language to avoid complex programming.
Sure.
Is basically agentic, and this one is more on ours, is moving from complexity to simplicity in a faster pace. So I truly see that as a game changer, but I think we're a little bit. It's gonna take us a little bit longer to get into that, but it's not gonna be years. I think it could be 1 year less.
Yeah, we'll work with you on that. I think I think the speed is incredible when you deploy with prompts as opposed to programming the system. So I agree with you. We look forward to partnering with you. So now you just talked about 1 year. Let's talk about, I don't know, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and you're deploying DI. What do you think this investment that you're making in training your organization, your people, and the technology will enable that was not possible before? Like, what you look, you're saying, oh, now we're 2 years from now. What has DI enabled that would have not been possible before?
So if you start thinking 2 years from now, right now we're in the top layer. So it's all the information comes on the top, gathering the information from the bottom, from the front line associates to the top, so we can make decisions. And that's where we start gathering everything. So the way that I imagine right now the evolution within the next 2 to 3 years is we already solved everything on the top, and we're gonna enable those frontlines associates in a
Yeah.
daily base on the warehouse, making decisions using AI, suggested decisions by a AI with an intervention or just a guidance of the user on the daily operations. So when that one start happening in that way, you're gonna minimize the errors, you're gonna improve productivity, and it's pretty much is gonna be changing the dynamic of your front lines and be more effective.
I love
It's
this.
gonna require a different set of skills, yes, but it's gonna be we can use it
So
in a better way.
you kind of started with the planners, complex planning functions, digitizing that, getting the value, but you see that now being pushed to the warehouse, being pushed to the front line. And I think your agentic discussion that we just had will also help you achieve that result. So we're getting close to the end of the time, Reyes. I could spend another 2 hours with you, but I know it's we're getting out of time. But as you're telling me and you're sharing with the audience what advice you have for anyone who's starting to on their journey, thought it would be time for me to open a little Coke Zero and cheers to you, my
Cheers.
friend. Thank you for being with us. I'm gonna have a sip, and I checked the date. The date is good. Gonna have a sip as you're telling us what lessons or advice you have for other leaders.
So first, I think let's go back into identify the problem, trust your partners; they are their experts, bring the expert. In this case, is you, of course. IRA is our partner, is the experts. Bring the experts to the conversations. Explain the benefits while addressing the opportunities. And it's a proof technology. Don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Change is a must. And to keep improving, we need to get better at embracing the technology.
You got to get started at some point. That's the point you're making as well, right? Don't be afraid of the change. It's going to happen, but you got to get going. Reyes, thank you so much for the partnership, for the ambition that you've had and you brought to this project and the results we're getting. We're very proud of the partnership with you and the great team that you have. Thank you for sharing your thoughts today. And this concludes our Decision Intelligence podcast, preventing stockout at scale inside the Coca-Cola Southwest Beverage Decision Intelligence journey. You can view today's podcast on our website at eratechnology.com. Reyes, again, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, your company. Thank you, everybody.